Hey there, I'm Ryan.
I'm Wilfred.
I'm Ivan.
And tonight, we continue our review of Series 4 on the Traitors UK as we go over episodes 4 to 6. Welcome to episode 58 of It's Just a Game.
I'm excited for this.
Hello and welcome to episode 58 of It's Just a Game, the podcast where we watch reality TV so you don't have to. Every episode, we go over the best moves, the maddest strategies, and the most iconic moments of your favourite reality TV shows. This week, well, there's been a lot of these iconic moments in the show where we've been there, done that, and got a t-shirt. It's called the Traitors UK. Now, if you're one of the many thousands who've started listening to the podcast recently, thank you so much for being here. We've had a lot of love in the past few weeks, and we really appreciate it. It's been brilliant.
Hi, new people.
Hello, new people.
Hi.
Hello, tiny people. If we get another 10 listeners, we'll be able to refund Will's hairline operation.
Oh my God.
Fuck off, man.
We're so nearly there, guys.
So
We're
please,
so nearly there.
keep listening. Don't do it for me. Do it for Turkey.
I did get it done in Turkey.
You did.
Yeah, but I like spreading the rumour that you've been to Turkey.
There's no problem with getting on in Turkey, but I didn't. It's just annoying. There's no problem with it, but
Where did you get it done?
in Fulham.
Fulham's the Turkey of the North.
Look, my point is, if you're listening to this podcast, please go on Twitter and spread the rumour that Will got his hair done in Turkey, specifically. Now, for introductions, my name is Ryan, and I thought I was shocked. Let me tell you, I was shocked to find out that Ross and Ellie were a couple. What the hell? Joining me is the man who knows all about being thrown under the bus by a fellow traitor and by his co-host now. It's Wilf. Hello, Wilf.
Hello. I just went to look for my notes and realised I wrote one thing, and it was the traitor statue sitting on a ledge. So shout out to the little statue thing that was the traitor sitting on the ledge. That's all I wrote. So we're going to have to wing this one.
Your notes for the last 3 episodes, maybe 3 of the most eventful episodes in the entire show, is one comment about the position of a statue.
Yeah, because I couldn't. It was so intense, right? Yeah. Big up to this episode. The last 2, I think they've overtaken the most highest rated episodes of all time from the Traitors UK franchise. Yeah. So that's why I was so engrossed that I forgot to write notes. Bad, innit?
Wilf is the only guy who watches the Traitors for the architecture. Thank you, Wilf. Also with me, you've heard him. It's the man who knows all about dramatic accusations around a meal. It's Ivan. Hello, Ivan. How are you?
Hello. I'm so good. I've been playing Blood on the Clock Tower all weekend in a massive house in Devon, which genuinely gave me Ardros Castle vibes. It was honestly, going up that gravel path towards it, I got the chills. It was so weird. I missed you guys, though. Where were you?
I spent our weekend watching games that nobody won at the football. Great weekend. Now, let's get into it. And as always, a word of warning. We are entering a spoiler zone. So if you haven't seen episodes 1 to 6 of the Traitors UK Series 4, be warned. So while we're here, can I just take a quick break on the spoiler zone bit? Because for the first time in my life, I've watched Uncloaked. And I swear, the man starts by saying, okay, go and watch it on iPlayer now if you haven't seen it. Spoilers start now. And this is a dramatic spoiler sound. Sorry, Ed Gamble has nicked the spoiler zone from us.
I think spoiler zone is a normal thing, Ryan.
No, I'm claiming it.
Hang on, now you mention it,
No.
Ed Gamble talks all the way through that episode. We talk on our podcast.
Yes.
I think he's stolen talking from us as well.
He's basically stole the whole thing.
Ed Gamble wears clothes on the podcast. We started wearing clothes on the podcast. Like, he stole that from us.
He has Wilfred Webster from The Traitors on his podcast sometimes. We have Wilfred Webster on our podcast all the time. He stole Wilfred Webster from The Traitors from us as well.
And I sold off Invisible Biscuits.
And you did. And we now officially have beef with Ed Gamble. But look, there are spoilers ahead, so leave now if you haven't seen it. And for the rest of you, because this is a podcast where we watch reality TV so you don't have to, and because we know that maybe you are on Twitter halfway through the episode looking at my wonderful tweets, replying to me that, oh, Ryan, you were shit on the Traitors. Why are you giving your opinion on the show? Well, you're about to hear another 40 minutes of that. But first, Ivan is here to remind you of everything you've missed in the past 3 episodes. So, Ivan, tell us, what's been going on, Ivan?
How dare you have an opinion about the traitors, Ryan? You didn't win it! Anyway, sorry. Episode 4. The secret traitor is Fiona. At breakfast, she attributes the Hugh Hunter role to Harriet to ensure she's well hidden. When everyone arrives, the gang assumes there's been a recruitment, but Claudia arrives to put them right and announces the 9 who are on trial. And kicker, they're going straight for a morning round table. Ooh. The gang finds the fingerprints and Stephen says Maz and Roxy were at the family tree right before the chimes went off. It's a daytime round table. It feels weird, like clubbing during the day. Faraz accuses Sam of not attacking Hugh enough. Stephen accuses Maz, but slips and says he was thinking about the fingerprints last night. No one picks up on it. Ross gets a grilling. Reese gets a grilling. Ross gets another grilling. Rachel asks him, was Hugo this dramatic in the turret? And he replies, which turret? Which is classic overproving, and I should know. Reese gets a bunch of votes, but Ross is banished 6-5 in the 3rd round table, like someone that I know, who's also a great person. We learn that Ellie and Ross were a couple. Jessie is convinced it's Stephen, but she can't convince... That wasn't an orgasm noise, that was a meh noise, by the way, just to be very, very clear. She can't convince anybody of it. The mission is a marshy skull hunt and stack. Players each pick to play for 1 player on trial, but nobody picks poor Sam. 5 players are saved from the chop, leaving Reese, Maz and Stephen to join Sam on trial. With the 4 on-trial players left in cages, and the rest head back for wine and plotting. It's a MIPS inside a MIPS. A horrible history's impression of an executioner chops off 3 of the trialists free. Episode 5. Stephen arrives at breakfast pretending to be relieved. Why, Stephen? It happened last night. Amanda tries to lance him on grammar. Rachel quietly agrees that he's suspicious and Fiona notices. Foreshadowing. Maz is murdered. Bye, Maz. Ellie and Stephen launch a campaign against Amanda for being too dominant. The mission is a metal skeleton spear thrust. 9 players end up potential murder targets. Amanda breaks cover and admits to Rachel she's a DCI. 5 shadowing. At the round table, Sam is in trouble. Stephen is under scrutiny, but the votes go to a tie between Amanda and Reese. Another vote takes them to deadlock for the 2nd time in 2 UK seasons. The chests of chance come out, Reese gets the shield, and Amanda is banished. Rachel reveals Amanda's job to the gang for her own credentials, and Fiona is furious and jealous. In a showdown in the kitchen, Fiona announces that Amanda is not a detective and that Rachel is a traitor. The castle descends into giggles, and in the incredibly tense turret, Episode 6. Fiona explains to Rachel that she doesn't like her going into business for herself. At breakfast, Rachel lays the groundwork about Fiona. The battle is on. Reese is murdered as a mercy kill. James feels dreadful. Rachel and Fiona each need to convince both the castle and Stephen that they should move forward with them. Meanwhile, Harriet thinks it's the both of them. She's on the money again! Harriet's brilliant! The mission is a personality quiz run by iPads dressed as magic mirrors. Rachel, Harriet, and Matthew win a chance to talk to the traitors. At the round table, Rachel goes straight for Fiona. Fiona fights back, and they both, quite carefully, hash it out, avoiding the obvious. Matthew continues on Sam. Faraz backs him up. Ellie piles on. Will the 2 traitors escape? No! Stephen very emotionally switches on Fiona. Fiona votes Sam in the end, but that doesn't work. She's banished. Stephen's tears exonerate him, seemingly, and now Matthew and Harriet may ask the traitors a question. Matthew asks who they want to murder next, Jessie, and then asks to be seduced. And a reply has arrived in the inbox. And that's where we are now.
Wow.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot.
Can I just say one quick thing that about David from Studio Lambert, the welfare person, listens and watches this podcast, and I didn't realise that.
Love you, David.
Would you love him?
When the Liverpool-Arsenal game was on, I messaged him going, do I watch Traitors or Liverpool? Like, just be honest. Like, be honest. Could I catch up with it? And he just went, lol. And I did think the episode was a bit blew my mind, but I wanted to give a shout out to David for listening.
In fairness to David, I think that's less of a reflection on the traitors, more of a reflection on how shit the Liverpool game was.
Where do we start? We've got ground to cover. Come on.
Okay, can we jump right in and start talking about the sort of highlight of these past 3 days, the secret traitor? We start with a reveal. You know, those people were guessing Harriet in all YouTube and Spotify comments. You were wrong. I was right. Fiona is the secret traitor. How do you feel Fiona did as a traitor? Obviously, it's it's a fun start, but she starts in a way that's quite overconfident. To me, it really felt like how Paul was in series 2. And then, what the fuck just happened? Ivan?
For me, it's a classic 3-act play, right? We've got the first act where we're trying to, it's a mystery, right? The second act where it's revealed and it ends in this terrible, terrible thing. And the third act, we see it all play out, everything falls apart and one person comes out the victor. I think she did a lot of things as the secret traitor, and she justified a lot of them on Uncloaked and gave not particularly good reasons. And I think that typifies her entire reign as a traitor. She made bad choices at the wrong time. Yes, she was threatened by Rachel, rightfully threatened by Rachel, who was playing a blinder of a game. She felt that threat. She felt that she wasn't in nearly as good social position, and she had finally evidence that she wasn't in as good social position. And rather than trying to change her social position, she doubted that Rachel could be in as good position as she was, and went, well, all I know is that Amanda liked me better. Therefore, Rachel's lying. I'll use it against her. It was her death knell. And it was such an interesting narrative to go from, I'm doing all these things right. What did she say to them when she takes off her red cloak? I was amazing, wasn't I? She can't understand that sometimes she's doing the wrong thing, and that leads to her eventual downfall. It's a beautiful narrative.
Wilf, how do we feel about that?
Similar to Ivan, to be fair. I remember thinking she's done an amazing job as a traitor, secret traitor, and just thinking she needs to dumb it down and just calm it down. Like, because she was so intense, like going in there and going, I just did your job for you. That's not creating good relationships with the other traitors straight away. It's going to put them on the back foot. And she had a soft spot for Stephen. She doesn't trust Rachel because she thinks Rachel's going to get rid of Stephen and win the game, which might happen. But
probably,
I will give props to Fiona because she didn't part in gift. She threw it on someone else purposely to not ruin the traitors game, which I respect a lot.
Yeah. It's sort of interesting there because Fiona actually comes across to me as actually quite nice. I really enjoy watching Fiona, but it might have been the biggest traitor self-own I've ever seen. And we've seen some traitor blunders over the years, but this one was rough. And I guess that leads me to my question. I've got to ask because this divided the internet over the past few days. Team Rachel or Team Fiona?
Did it actually divide the internet?
I think a lot of people did sort of defend Fiona, you know. I mean, obviously there's a sphere of people who watch the show and sort of judge more around who's been the most iconic rather than who's been playing the best. But, you know, just from a personality point of view, there was clearly a clash there, which I think did divide some people at least.
I was rooting for Fiona because I didn't like the move on Ross, which Rachel did, because I thought Ross was going anyway. I don't think it was needed, and it just made me... I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. And she said it was a joke, but
it was cheeky.
Yeah, it was cheeky. And I was a bit like, she's never going to keep Stephen at the end. She made that promise. And I think we've seen that promise because somebody's going to break that promise at some point. So for me, Rachel going through and Fiona not is detrimental to Stephen's game because I think Rachel's going to go against Stephen, and Stephen is going to go a lot further than what we thought because of this feud that they're having. That's what I think.
Yeah. I was on Team Rachel, mostly because I think she deserved to survive out of the two. I think Fiona made a mistake. I mean, it's amazing TV. I think she made a mistake attacking her then with a whole day until the next banishment. Because and also with a traitor's turret coming up next, and I think the reason why she did it out of potential kind of jealousy was also a very strange thing and feeling threatened. I think basically the reason why I was Team Rachel is I think Rachel played it better.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I mean, like Fiona was lovely, but I think she tried to create a character in that castle of like a sweet old lady that was a little bit clueless. And then her behavior in the later stages of the game was not consistent with that character. That was always going to result to her downfall. And I don't know if it's just sort of the power of being the secret traitor that got to her head. You know, she started the game being like sold as this all-powerful individual, and very quickly she was brought down to earth and reminded actually you're just another traitor and you will be backstabbed like the rest of them. I don't know if that's what led her to move mad, but she started moving against her own interests. You know, she would have benefited from the strategy of, putting the spotlight on Sam, which is what effectively would have been the result of following Amanda's suspicion, because Amanda was suspicious of Sam. I feel like she just killed her game a little bit earlier than she needed to there.
You can't go in there and fully get into that evil role like Paul did and, play that like villain role. It doesn't get you very far. It's very entertaining, don't get me wrong, but gameplay-wise, it's just... it runs out of time.
I guess should we just chat a little bit about the way Rachel approached these roundtables? Because I think It's not just Fiona who moved mad. Rachel deserves credit because she moved really well. The way she went after Ross, the way she extricated herself in the next round table. Like, these were 3 really strong episodes for Rachel as a traitor. Ivan, what do we think?
They were. It was dominant. We saw her social play was strong because when Fiona accused her, they all burst out laughing. The accusation of Ross, I think, is a really interesting point to sort of drill down on. It's a little bit like when you say, you're crying, and you can't go, I'm not crying, right? Because if you reply effusively, it seems like you are crying. And if you don't reply at all, then it looks like you're trying to hide something. And so, it's a gotcha in the most difficult way. I don't know if it was horrible. It was in a way, it was horrible in the sense that he had no escape from it. Mean, maybe. It did work, but it was a kind of a risk because you go that hard on someone who you know is a faithful.
Yeah.
Then it could, well, it didn't because she has such social clout, but it could have been that when he went, they all looked back at her and was like, what was that all about then? So
I don't know,
I'm not sure
mate.
it was the best play. It was brilliant to watch.
I don't think it was great play in terms of putting yourself in the spotlight again just putting yourself in the spotlight for no reason because Ross was going to go anyway. And then Harriet, this just cemented to Harriet that she's a traitor and she's done that on purpose. And it's definitely played a part in Harriet's gameplay. And Harriet, as we know, is the strongest faithful. There's not going to be a murder tonight. So the longer you leave Harriet in, I think the worse for Rachel, personally.
You've just got to be so careful as a traitor about your accusations leading back to you. This is one example, and Fiona's example is another one as well. If you accuse someone and they go, what's it going to do for your clout in the game? As soon as Fiona announced that Rachel was a traitor, whatever happened, even if she managed somehow to get rid of get rid of Rachel, Fiona was gone. And I almost worried this was the same thing for Rachel. It seems like this wasn't the thing that got people suspecting her. Though you're right, Harriet's onto her, and that could be massive for the game.
I guess my question then is, we'll get back to our prediction game a little bit later in the episode, but how do we think this ends? Because initially I thought when Fiona and Rachel were going at it, it's going to be mutually assured destruction. But actually you see how they all like Rachel at the end of that round table. It made me think, actually she could have a pretty comfortable path to the final because she came out of that confrontation victorious with, I'd say, at least half of the contestants there thinking she's a faithful. Equally, I think maybe it buys Steven some time. He's, a lot of the spotlight has gone away from him. We had a really good prediction on our YouTube comments, and I mostly want to mention it because of the username of the person who made that prediction. Slavic Meat Feast predicted. Slavic Meat Feast predicted that actually Stephen might still do it because gay disasters typically have a good track record at the traitors, and he's right. If you look at celebrity traitors, gay disasters have a good track record. So, how do we think this ends? What do we think happens, sort of for both Stephen and Rachel?
I think Stephen reminds me of myself a tiny bit in terms of the crying at the end, and I think he might have got rid of the Library 5 theory, which is good because Jesse's not leaving that alone. So, but now I think she might. So he's back in the mix with everyone else.
Fiona was in that room. So Fiona could be the person who made it happen.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why Jesse would look at that again.
And Jesse don't know she was a secret traitor or anything like that. So, for me, I think Stephen is going to go further than Rachel. I think he's going to surprise us. I think they showed him being weak quite early on and being shocked. Similar to me, I was crying all the time, but I ended up getting into the final. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm team Stephen, not Rachel.
Yeah, those tears were very much like the tears that you cried when Alyssa went and stuff. And it's really interesting to see that kind of, is it relief? You can't really fake tears like that, but you can certainly fake the source of the tears. I don't know who's going to do better out of those two. I think for a series that has had twists pretty much every episode, I don't think we can really predict who's going to win. I mean, just think about last season, right, with the seer. It didn't matter what we thought coming up to the halfway through episode 11 because that changed everything. But I think they've both got a good chance. They're both looking about as good as they've looked at any point in the series, and we're halfway through. So well done them.
I still think Rachel's got probably a better chance just because although we don't know what's going to happen next, there's probably going to be more twist. I think Rachel's demonstrated she's just a really smooth operator, and she might still be able to talk her way out of whatever comes next. So I'm probably buying Rachel's case a little bit more.
Well, I mean, the fact that Amanda confided in her about being a DCI. Says
shows it,
everything about the low end work that she does, the groundwork she's put in, and the fact that when suddenly she's shown to be that much more socially adept than Fiona, she causes waves just in that. It's really impressive.
And on that note, if you have previously been arrested by Amanda, you may be entitled to compensation because the DCI, acting like she's a senior detective for the Metropolitan Police and confining this in the traitor, the biggest traitor in that castle, is hilarious to me.
Rachel's gameplay is obviously better than what we're seeing as well, because even Ross, when he found out on Uncloaked, he found out she was a traitor. He was more shocked by her than anybody else that he revealed.
She's really smooth. Should we talk about the other really big twist then of that week, which is the questions to ask the traitors?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to sort of debrief the way Matty approached this, because, again, quite controversial on the internet this week. A lot of people thinking it's genius, a lot of people thinking it's inconsequential. And we'll talk about that. But first, I just wanted to know, if you're there, like, how do you approach this twist? What questions do you ask the traitors?
I'd ask, like, could an all-powerful god jump over a pit that he has created to be too big to jump over?
Explain.
Well, if he's an all-powerful god, he can create a pit so big that nobody can jump over it. But equally, if he's an all-powerful god, he can jump over that pit. I'd ask that.
I think you've got a point in that this is likely to be equally useful as any other question you could ask them there.
Yeah, thanks. I mean,
because they're able to lie. So what's the point?
That's my point. Like, what they just ask something that might bring out a character answer. They just put no, right? But just ask something that brings out a character answer, because that's more likely. I don't know. Anyway, right, Wilvo?
It's a hard one because they can just lie like the whole time. So I think if I was there, I would say, tell me who you want me to lead the charge against tomorrow to get rid of a faithful, and I'll be a faithful that helps you as long as you recruit me as a traitor next time, or something like that.
That's a little bit like what Matthew said, isn't it?
Yeah, but
done a bit better, I think.
Yeah, I think, but they can lie ultimately. So,
Ryan, I want you to lay down why, because again, I haven't really been on social media this week. So I want you to tell me why people are saying it's genius. The only pros I can see out of what he's done is it changes his relationship with the traitors. So he's got one day, and exactly one day, to see if he can figure out whose demeanor has changed when talking to him. There's also the new possibility of being recruited, but I think that's probably quite a long shot based on what he's said to them, but we'll get to that. The downsides we can get to in a minute. But tell me, Rachel, no, you're not called that. You're called Ryan. What the hell are people saying? Because I've seen it too, but I didn't listen to the reel, but I saw someone saying this is the most genius play ever. Like, why?
Like, I'll be honest, like, a lot of these explanations didn't really land with me because I'm just not buying them. I agree with you. I don't think this has sort of any benefits. Perhaps the only benefit is people are seeing it from the prism of not the traitor, but Mate. Mate thinks his back is against the wall. He's definitely going to get murdered. That sort of mad movement could buy him some time.
Why is he going to get murdered?
Well, because people think he's like, a sure faithful. At least his view in there is that he's a certain faithful. His view is that he's not going to get banished. And if you're not going to get banished, you will get murdered. Because of that, I think, there's people see it as maybe good self-preservation strategy, even though I'm not entirely sure I agree. But as you say, like, if I'm a traitor, I will just say yes and then murder you when I get another opportunity. Or I say yes and use you and then murder you again. Or I'll just there's no...
Or just ignore you.
It's inconsequential. Like, there's nothing he can do there because he's got no leverage whatsoever. And he doesn't even learn much from asking those questions.
And like me, become the faithful traitor, somebody who's an actual faithful that's working with the traitors. And then the more you get rid of, the more you can actually figure out who the actual traitors are and try and get them out eventually. Like that's the only thing. I don't really know if it was great. I think it was good entertainment though.
In doing so, he's also made his gameplay more difficult because now he has to go back to the game and he's keeping a secret. And we've established before that as a faithful, keeping a secret, an extra secret you didn't have to, is unnecessary and sometimes more difficult. Now they're going to ask him, what questions did you ask? What is he going to say? Oh, yeah, can you recruit me? He's going to have to come up with a lie. And because of that, I think there's so many downsides to strategy. I mean, Ivan, I'm sure you've seen others as well.
Yeah, the traitors are going to be a little bit scared of him.
Yeah.
They're not going to like the fact that he's trying to plot to join them. We talk endlessly about how the fact that they don't really want to have 3 strong traitors. They want to have a pair of strong traitors, which they have, and one piece of meat to feed to the vultures. they don't want him as a traitor. They want to either get rid of him or, even worse, completely ignore him from now on. Just ignore him because they don't want anything to do with him. So it's not a terrible thing at all because he's changed his relationship with the traitors. If he's looking to win the game as a faithful, at least he's got something to look at tomorrow morning. If he's looking to win the game as a traitor, that's fine. He's done his best. But Will, you're onto something. Rather than saying, recruit me now, he should say, I'm going to prove it to you by essentially playing on the traitor's team. And if you like it enough, put me on your team. And if not, that's also fine. Because then you can maybe, not get the traitors out and then right on the final day, jag on them, I think there's better things to do. But what I like is asking a question that either brings out the character of the traitor to give you a clue who they are, or changes your relationship with them so that you can try and use that as a little crumb something for the next day. I just think this ends in his elimination.
Probably, but I guess we'll find out very soon. I think then let's go over a few other things that happen in the game, because there's a few other interesting moments. Let's go back a little bit further back, first to the murder in plain sight, and the next day. They wake up at breakfast. I know it feels like ages ago now, but they wake up at breakfast and they realize that somebody put some ink on a bunch of names on a family tree. For starters, I'm a little bit confused. Maybe they just didn't show it to us, but I'm just not sure how Reese doesn't at least vaguely connect the dots there, because I know then a lot of time would have elapsed between the moment when he was standing with Rachel and Stephen in front of the family tree and was asked to leave. But in that game, especially the game where you know that a murder in plain sight will happen, surely the concept of being asked by two people to leave so they can stand alone in front of a portrait and then the next day that is used in a murder of plain sight should be like waving red flags with beacons and like sirens. I'm a bit confused by what happened then, how I didn't connect the dots.
I feel like we need a timeline, and I feel like while they would never provide that, that would have made it more impressive. I don't really understand how it works, because Stephen says, and everyone seems to agree, that Maz and Roxy were there 5 minutes before the chimes went and they had to leave. So, it was in those 5 minutes, but we saw the Reese and Rachel and Stephen thing happen before that. So I guess Reese discounted it because he went, well, there was still no, fingerprints on it. And then in the last 5 minutes, they went back. I actually don't understand the timings of it. And I think since they pulled off such an impressive thing to do that in a busy castle, we almost, as the viewer, deserve to see how they did it.
Yeah.
We saw them do it, but I don't know how. And that makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Not like you've just seen a magic trick, but more like what actually happened. It's just not quite enough.
That's how I feel. I'm like, what happened? Why hasn't it been brought up? And we see this a lot in the Traitors, actually, where somebody comes up with a theory and then the next day it's just completely squashed. That's one of the reasons I love Jesse so much for going for the Library 5 constantly. I'm like, cool, that's a theory. Go for it. But why Reese didn't say anything? Like, to me, that was suspicious. Going, oh yeah, can we're just going to have a chat. Can you go away?
Yeah.
It's
just a bit weird.
Why did you bring it up?
Even if they didn't do the fingerprints then, which we know we can demonstrably say they didn't do it then, they probably were discussing which 9 they wanted to put on the list. So yeah, Reese, not fully on it there, I think.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like you'd have to point out something's weird. Well, if you've mentioned Jesse, can I just, you know what? I'm going to bring back the singular clap.
Yes,
please.
please.
For people who haven't listened to this podcast in a long time, when we really like a player, we'll give them a singular clap. We won't give them full applause because I've got neighbours, but we'll give them a singular clap. And this week, I would like to give a singular clap to Jessie. Jessie has been incredible to watch. She's entertaining. She's fun. The way she's like, oh, here they come with their stupid theories is just so real. She's brilliant. She's kind. And she's a Eurovision fan. I'm barely obsessed with Jessie. So I'm going to give her a singular clap to Jessie in 3, 2, 1.
Can we also have a singular clap for Harriet, who is pretty fantastic as a traitor hunter? She's doing great.
Fucking amazing to watch as well. And just her brain and her thought. It reminds me of going on my walk with Ivan a little bit, because you meet these people that are super intelligent in your life. And I think I love to pick Ivan's brains when I was walking, just pick brains. And I'd love to do that with Harriet and just go, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And just watching her doing that in a MIV and talking about what's on her mind. I love her.
She's very sardonic as well. Like, she doesn't hold back. She's not trying to be nice. I think she's brilliant.
that's the part of her that made me say, as a former barrister, she's a former barrister, as a lawyer myself, that's the part that made me think I would enjoy working with her so much, just for the attitude.
Yes,
or just it's somebody I want to work with. So Harriet, if you're willing to get back to work, get in touch.
Let's do a singular clap. Come on, please.
3, 2, 1.
So I'm a bit jealous because you two have a connection with Harriet. So obviously she's an author. She was a barrister. You're both in books and law. So hopefully she starts interviewing people on the street. Then I can be involved in the law, Harriet law.
Maybe.
Showing people pictures of Pokemon.
I'm going to ask her the names of Pokemon. There you go. I'm going to do it.
I'm not sure you'll see that straight away. But there you go. This was a moment I dedicate to Crypto64 in our YouTube comments, who said we did not speak about how amazing Jessie was. We've done it now. We've also done it for Harriet. Anyone you think we haven't applauded enough, put it in the comments. We might give them a singular clap next week if they play well enough.
Yes.
The other angle, I think that's quite interesting. It's another thing that happens in these past few episodes is there's more focus on hidden secrets, hidden connections. In episode 4, we've got the unsurprising boyfriend reveal. In episode 5, we've got the secret sort of copper connection where Fiona's like, hey, my family is full of coppers. And Maz is like, oh, I'm a former police officer. This place is full of coppers. There's a lot of sort of interesting connections. I guess I've got to ask, this is entertaining. This adds a little bit to the drama. But for me, maybe it's a bit of a distraction. I just wonder if I'm a bit over this sort of hidden connection gimmick. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I'm over it.
No,
I'm over it.
It's not just you. I think it's good. And we understand, I think all of us, that it increases the virality of the show. People want to talk about it. They love guessing along. And if we can't guess about who the traitors are, we want to guess about what the hidden connections are. And that's fine. We also know that an outed connection is not a massive advantage, and a hidden connection doesn't seem to be one either, because it's not like Ross and Ellie could really work together too much. In fact, Ross admits he thought Ellie was a traitor because her demeanor had changed on the show. So I don't think it provides any game advantage. It's just becoming a fun kind of family connections guessing game for us. It's not going anywhere. But I will just sort of flag that every reveal is a bit less dramatic than the previous one.
That's why I'm over it. People keep sending me messages. Is there more connections in there? And I'm like,
Don't really care.
I hope not. I'm not bothered. That's gone for me. I'm like, okay. And the fact is, Studio Lambert trying to get 22 people that are connected and get all the stuff off their social media, all of it, it's just impossible. That will never happen. It can't. It's logistical nightmare.
I'm not sure I agree. I still think it's possible that there are more connections in there. They're just going to keep dropping there. But
What when somebody, do you know if they live together, there's people walking down the street that know they live together. They're going to sell stories to the press, and it's just, do you know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah.
I think if you go whole hog on connections, even if not even secret connections, but connections, you could do a thing like all 22 of these contestants were in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, the individual lodgings.
They were all stuck on a train together in a snowdrift in a breakdown, and spent the night together, and then all went their separate ways. And we managed to get them all back together in the castle for a game with the traitors. That could be really interesting.
I'm gonna write that down and sell that as a format.
All right, there's no evidence of me saying it before you, so that's fine.
Saeed is going to Netflix.
I'm over it. It's fine. It's never going away. Can I tell you something that has gone away that I've noticed that I think is quite good?
Okay.
There've been no secret shields so far in this game. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I think there was one point where they could just about hide who of a 7 got it or something. But having all these 9 people who don't have shields or that kind of thing, it's quite an interesting way of progressing the game. I wonder if that's because we've seen shield bluffs quite a lot. It's dominated quite a lot of the strategy, most famously the Harry play, but other ones as well. And I'm just wondering if this kind of open shields, but lots of people having them, is just a sort of evolution of the game and making it a bit more interesting and perhaps a bit more accessible.
I think so. I think it's part of an effort we've been seeing to just keep making the missions more interesting. And I think they've been really well with that this year. The missions have been interesting in terms of impact on the gameplay.
Yeah, really like that. There's always been something. It makes it, and we all talk about the fact that the missions are kind of a bit of light relief, and that's fine. They still are, but they always have something that can feed back into the game, and that's momentum.
Yeah.
We lost a lot of momentum in those middle 20 minutes of a lot of episodes. That's not happening so much, which makes a better episode.
I guess then my question is some people think it's vaguely related to the prediction thing. It might not be, but why then do we think we keep seeing that bloody Who's Who 1934 book? They keep showing it. We haven't stopped seeing it. And I just feel like there has to be something there. Is it maybe like some murder in plain sight hiding in there? I don't know, but I keep wondering, what is this book all about? Or did they just run out of like beauty shots?
The last book that we saw was The Seer. So it could be that the Who's Who is a power that in some way gives you information about who is what and who is what that is revealed later in the series.
Yeah.
But if we're doing the thing where the book that you see is the end game twist, then that could be what this leads to. We just have to wait patiently to see. I think we've all exhausted looking at the 1934 connection. Someone did find that book. I think you said this last week, didn't you? And inside there is a book called The Traitors. It's like a review of a book called The Traitors, which is quite a fun connection. I don't think that's what it is, though. I think that's just a character.
I think my theory there is that, like the game Who's Who, when you get to the final, you might not be able to find out who is actually like somebody's role, but you might be able to ask like 3 questions, like in Who's Who, like, oh, does a traitor have glasses or something like that?
But that's called Guess Who.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, still, to me, that's close enough.
Okay.
There's obviously a reason why it's that whole theory that when I watch a TV series, something is shown and I'm like, well, that's significant. So, and you told me about it, Ivan. What's it called?
Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun, yeah.
Yeah, that's it's obviously that, isn't it? Again, it's obviously significant in a way in the future. No idea how it's going to play out.
It has to play out in some way. I'll finish this episode with just one more really random theory. I saw this in our YouTube comments. It was DTFlame286 who came up with this. And it's so out there, but in a way it could be so interesting. He makes a point about color theory. There's a lot more blue in like the way the show is colored, edited in this series. Previously, we had warm colors, like visually. Now, we've got more blue, more cold colors. I don't know. Could this mean something? Is it just an effort at making the castle look colder, more dramatic? I don't know, but I thought it was really interesting.
That juxtaposes Claudia's actions, because I think she's warmer this series. Like saying lines and talking to the camera, breaking that fourth wall. You see that more of Claudia this series than you have in any other series.
Wilfred Webster casually dropping juxtaposes into a sentence there, mate. I mean, that was lovely.
No, mad.
I felt a stirring, I'll tell you that. Hey, listen, I think what's happened here is they've done a colour grade that's different from previous series. Every single piece of visual media has colour grading on it, and this colour grade is a bit more blue than Series 1. I'm not sure that has a meaning so much as just someone noticing a colour grade, right?
Maybe that's it, but I just thought it was interesting enough to mention.
Oh, it's cool. It's a really cool theory. Yeah.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Well, speaking of thematic, is it time for my new recurring segment, Snazzy Kebab Granules?
It's not very new, but I think it is time for our prediction game, Snazzy Kebab Granules. And let's get an update on our predictions so far, Ivan.
So there were kind of 1.5 predictions that were fulfilled this week. One we can absolutely go out of. The second one we need to discuss. The first one is that my likely prediction was that the Red Traitor would only be revealed when banished. This is clearly false.
Yeah.
And because of that, Rayan gets a point and Wilf and Ivan do not get a point. This puts Rayan on 5 points, I think, and Wilf stays on 2 and I stay on 1.
He's winning.
So far, not doing very well, boys. Well, apart from Rayan.
Champions of the prediction game, you'll never sing that.
I think...
Excuse me, you're not allowed an opinion or predictions or anything, mate. You were shit in season 1. There you go.
This one's really interesting, and I think we can agree, right? So Ryan's mid prediction was that contestants would be set on fire. A contestant would be set on fire. Well, their names were set on fire, but are we happy to say this hasn't yet been actually properly done?
I think this qualifies, and obviously I'm very biased
No!
to win this game, but I think this qualifies.
Ryan, shut up,
Bro,
mate.
no way.
I only brought it up because I wanted to see how close you'd got, but I don't think this is even... Come on.
Okay, fine, I'll give it to you, but under protest, let that be documented, please.
Okay, if it comes down to a tiebreaker, and that's relevant,
you can have it.
Maybe we'll look at it again. But no promises. Anyway, Ryan, out of the 5 predictions that have come to fruition, you've got 5 out of 5 so far. So let's look at which players we have left in our winner draft and also in our secret traitor draft. So the first thing was we now know who the secret traitor was, and it was Fiona, which means we get a bonus point for Wilf, because Wilf, you picked Fiona as your 3rd pick. So you get another point, bringing you to 3 points.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's look at what we've lost. Ryan, you lost Amanda and Maz. Wilf, you lost Ross and Fiona. And I think that's it, because Reese was the other person to go this week, and he was picked by nobody.
He was the audience pick. So I'm sorry to the audience in our YouTube comments, but you have lost again.
Audience, sorry, mate.
You need to stop tweeting, I guess, audience, Chuckleheads.
Yeah, stop guessing, mate. Stop having predictions.
Yeah, I feel like you're not that great at the game. Maybe you should not be entitled to having an opinion.
Wow. If you don't know what this is about, I think you've probably figured it out by now.
It's in my Twitter comments.
Yeah. Ryan, you have 3 players left. Jesse, Jade, and Roxy. Wilf and Ivan both have 5 players left. Top pick for Wilf, Rachel is still in. Second top pick for Ivan, Stephen is still in. So there's a few really big hitters right there. So I've lost my top pick. That happened almost instantly. But I think we're doing pretty well. Ryan's only got 3 left. That's looking a bit dim for you. But I will say you're almost already won this. It's going to be pretty hard for us to catch you up. So there it is. All right. That's the update.
That's a prediction game. And I think that's pretty much it for our preview of episodes 4 to 6 of The Traitors. Should we come back very soon? A bit sooner. I know many people have been waiting for this episode. We apologise. We had the plans.
Yeah, lots of people.
Should we come back for episodes 5 to 9 then?
Yeah, buddy.
But it will be 7. It'll be episodes 7 to 9, Ryan.
It'll be episode 7 to 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do math. Remember, I'm a lawyer. But we'll be back very soon to cover episodes 7 to 9. We're getting closer to the end game. In the meantime, if you like this podcast, please subscribe on your favourite podcast app, follow us on social media, share a like, a comment, or a 5-star review. We've been seeing so much engagement and love on our social media and our YouTube channel recently, and we really appreciate it so much. So thank you for all of that. Please keep subscribing, liking, following. It helps us massively. Lots of new faces in our comment sections, and we love each one of you individually. Until then, my name is Ryan, and you can follow me at I Think Rachel Is Lying.
My name is Will. You can follow me at Traitor Sitting on a Ledge.
My name's Ivan. You can follow me at Ryan. It's my secret daddy.
And from all of us here, it's see you very soon and good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
And I always say good night. What if you're listening to this at 8 a.m? Well, in that case, good day.
Good day, mate.
Good morning, driver.
Suckling Chinese meal.